Howdy, welcome back to another episode of Western Women Wednesdays. I'm your host, Presley Chaders. Today's guest isn't your average cowgirl. She's a living, breathing embodiment of grit and glamour. When she's not wrangling cattle or managing a large livestock operation alongside her husband and faithful sidekick, Patsy the Basset Hound, her talents truly shine. Today, we have the honor of speaking with Blue Borton. She brings old pieces back to life and she crafts wearable works of art. But it's not just about the threads. In our wonderful conversation, Blue fiercely shares her journey, offering up pearls of wisdom on navigating life's roughest trails, from dealing with criticism to dealing with the judgment from others. So thanks for being here and joining us on this Wednesday with the beautiful Blue Borton. Hi, my name is Presley Chaders. I'm here with Blue Borton. I'm super excited to have her on today's episode of Western Women Wednesdays, brought to you by Cowgirl's Edge. Introduce yourself. Tell us where you're from, where you've lived, who your family is.
Hi, I'm Blue Borton. I live in southwestern South Dakota. I grew up in western Montana in the mountains, but now I'm a prairie girl. I married into South Dakota after growing up in the Bitter Valley there in western Montana. Homeschooled, went to college at the University of Montana in Missoula. College rodeoed with a full ride scholarship, and married into South Dakota. So now I'm quite a ways east, but it feels a little more western actually than where I was in Montana.
Yeah, cool. And who's your family? And talk a little bit more about your history as a rodeo athlete and ranch woman.
Well, my parents, Alex and Claudia Ogilvie. My dad, Alec, is actually in the Montana Cowboy Hall of Fame. I got a different upbringing. My dad was born in 1924, so he actually was a World War II Marine. So I kind of skipped a generation. He was the age of most of my peers as their grandparents. So I had an interesting upbringing, just kind of skipping a generation that way. And my parents bought, sold, raised horses for years. That's all my family really ever did. My mom pro rodeoed and did the women's event. She actually rode barebacks and bulls and trained barrel horses later on, and has done pretty much everything in the horse industry. But yeah, my dad was an old cowboy, did a lot of things that most people's grandparents or great grandparents talk about. So it was an interesting upbringing for sure.
Yeah, that's really neat. And tell us about Out of the Blue Emporium. What inspired you to start it? And I'm wearing one of your hoodies today, the cutest one ever. And talk about this Be a Kind Cowgirl design, because I've seen it a lot on your website. Where did it come from? And yeah.
Well, Out of the Blue, it goes back a long ways. My grandmother, she really was into sewing, into fashion, always very stylish, had a real way of thrifting and maybe not quite upcycling, but always had her own style. And I always really appreciated that. When I was young, I had a very limited clothing budget. So I always kind of made do and was creative so that I had things that were neat. I mean, that I thought were neat and cool, even if it wasn't something that you could buy at the store. So when I graduated college, that was really my goal, was to have a clothing business, but then just life got in the way. And then here, probably 8 or 9 years ago, I had a horse fall with me. I got a concussion and I just wasn't feeling great. And I couldn't read, I couldn't watch TV. And so I got back into sewing. Still have the same sewing machine that I had when I was a teenager. So I just kind of started playing around. And I really like, as your sweatshirt shows, kind of the patching. I like the layers and the different dimensions. And pretty much all of my designs are completely unique. And I love the Be a Kind Cowgirl because we all can benefit from kindness. A dear friend of mine drew that little cowgirl for me. I call her Cowgirl Christy. And I just love using her. I'd like to really do more designs with the Be a Kind Cowgirl and also that logo.
Yeah. I also have a sticker of her on my rope can from Auntie Jolene. And I also wanted to ask about Willie, because my auntie used to own a horse that you trained or owned for a bit. So talk about him a little bit.
Yeah, he was a horse that my family, we raised him and then trained him. And he was actually my very first futurity horse that I had him. And I campaigned him. And then it came time to sell him. And a friend of mine that was college rodeoing with me is from Alberta. And so she knew that Jolene was looking, and your auntie came down and bought Willie, and he was quite an amazing horse for her, and she took wonderful care of him. And so yeah, now I have all sorts of friends through Willie, and people knew Willie for sure. His registered name was Mission Impossible, and he was an amazing horse.
Yeah, he truly was. He was so sweet to us girls growing up, and he truly was so amazing. Auntie loved that horse so much. And getting back into your business, what's your all-time favorite project or piece that you've worked on, and what makes it special to you?
Well, each and every one, I love them. I always think that when I create things, like would want it to be something that I would want to wear. Probably my most favorite thing that I've done for myself, I have a pair of pants that I started just patching out of necessity. They kind of needed it. And then I've kind of kept going on and on. I'll have to get you a photo of them, but they're getting to where they're just about patched all the way down the front. I've had to reinforce everywhere, but I've just got really, really fun patches that mean something to me. And so they've been great. I also love my down vests that I do. Every patch is different on them. And as people who are around livestock, I don't know, we all seem to wear vests all the time. So those are really fun to create too.
Yeah, they're beautiful. I'm saving up to get a vest or a denim coat. I think that I really want one. What does a typical day on the ranch look like for you?
Oh, I always think I get up with a plan. The plan changes over and over again until it's time to go to bed. But usually we start out with a plan, like what's going to happen the next day. But things, as you know, with livestock come up. But, get up, do some chores. Some days we work cattle. Some days I get to stay in the house and sew. Some days I have to stay in and do housework. It just really, really varies. I would like more time in my sewing studio, but different times of the year I have more time than others. Right now we're calving, just about done with that, and moving on to branding. So the days are busy. My sewing time isn't much, but when it gets hot in the summertime in the afternoons or in the wintertime, I get to sew quite a bit and create some things.
Absolutely. And talk about Art of the Cowgirl and some other events you attend with Art Out of the Blue Emporium.
Oh, Art of the Cowgirl is a really wonderful event. Tammy Pate did such a wonderful job creating that to really bring to light how many makers there are and that are cowgirls, and the wonderful things that they do, the horsewomen, the clinics, the workshops. There's so many fun things. I've met people from all over the United States, Canada, that come, they meet, they'll have like a girls' weekend. And it's just really very inspiring to see the different things that people create, and also the things that they're doing with their horses. They have a great breakaway. They have Women's Ranch Rodeo. They have the world's greatest horsewoman competition. But it's just really wonderful to visit with people, and how there's just a sense of the kind of the Western community there. I spoke with one woman last year. She was from California, pardon me. And she said coming to the event the year before had changed her life. And I was like, really? Wow. And it was so amazing. She just didn't know that there was a community like that of people that supported each other. And she had some really amazing big goals that she wanted to accomplish with her and her horses. And it was all from going to Art of the Cowgirl.
That's incredible. It is one of my dream events to attend. It's been on my bucket list for so long. Fingers crossed this year. I actually really think it's going to happen, so I'm excited for that. But have you ever faced criticism or doubt from others about your choices and lifestyle? How do you handle it?
I had to think quite a bit on this question. I kind of struggled with it, thinking about that. That's a hard one, because there is always people that criticize, the Western lifestyle. And I think so many people just don't know what goes on. and maybe that's why they are critical. They would like to know maybe more why we do what we do with our horses or cattle. Um, and I don't know. It seems like lots of times people think like, oh, if you're a cowgirl, they want to put you in a box and just think that you're just one way. But it seems to me that there's lots of different cowgirls or Western women. I mean, they can do so many different things um, that I don't. I'm not answering your question very well here. I'm sorry.
No,
uh,
it's okay.
I think just being yourself and being kind and helping people to understand why we do what we do. Maybe they're not being critical, maybe they're just wondering and having questions. So it's important not to, I think, if people are criticizing, to meet them like defensively, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Absolutely. And you kind of got to think about it from both perspectives too, because we look at them and we're like, why the heck do you live in the city? And they look at us, why the heck do you live where there's no town 3 hours away, right? So, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, what advice do you have for women who struggle with confidence and fear of judgment from others?
Oh, that kind of makes me laugh because I think we all have areas where either we're confident or we really have a lot of self-doubt. I think a person should be proud of what you're done, but not over proud. I mean, aware what you need to work on, and then have humility to work on those things, maybe where we could do better, and ask for help. Um, I appreciate when people have quiet confidence. People that are overtly confident, that doesn't seem to come off too well. But if we're quietly confident, um, that's a good way to be. And I think many times the person that judges us the most is ourselves. We say things to ourselves that we would never say to a friend of ours. I mean, we say unkind things. So that's something that I've really been working on, is just having my self-talk be kind and really upbuilding for me. And recently I listened to a book that Mel Robbins has called The High Five Habit. And it's just really great. I've been listening to different chapters over and over, and it's about how you can overcome that and give yourself a high five. I really encourage it to anybody to listen to.
Yeah, I think I've heard that clip. Is that when she's like every time she walks past a mirror, she gives herself a high five? Yeah,
Yeah.
I've
Yep.
heard of it, and I started doing it actually not too long ago. I had a conversation with somebody about it. We are talking about confidence, and that video struck me, and I was like, I'm gonna try it. And yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
She wrote a whole book about it, and it's really, I mean, hits on a lot of different ways, and how we doubt ourselves, and how maybe our self-talk is what's sabotaging us. So yeah, it's a good listen or read,
Neat.
either
Yeah,
one.
I'll have to check it out for sure. I want to talk about your like personal style and like jewelry style a little bit. So, what do you have to speak on that?
Oh, I think that everybody's so different. I personally love color, and I don't know if it's from having a name that is a color or what. Um, but yeah, I love all colors. I mean, as you can see here behind me, always have
Yeah.
lots going on. But also, I like a classic cowgirl style. I have things that have been in my closet for years, and I try to find things that I think aren't super, super trendy. You can have a couple trendy items, but if you have those classic cowgirl pieces, they're going to serve you for a long, long time.
Mhm. Absolutely. And looking ahead, what are some of your future goals or aspirations for your business and just life in general?
Well, I would like to keep creating one of a kind garments for my customers that they can enjoy. I have lots of things that bounce around in my head. Um, I'd really like to create more things, more items incorporating like family vintage photos and incorporating those into the patches for, like a family heirloom that you could wear. Because I mean, how many
Yeah.
times do we have neat old Western photos? And so that's something that I'd really like to work on. I have all sorts of things, but the days kind of fly by. So yeah, it's hard to get to all
Yeah,
of them.
cool. No, I agree. There's a million things I want to do, and I just hope I get to do at least half of them. But Um, what is the best piece of advice you've ever received?
I don't know. It's hard. That's really hard to narrow it down to just one. I guess one
Yeah,
that's been pretty good is you get what you get and you don't throw a fit.
fair enough. Yeah, I like that. What is your favorite piece of jewelry? Do you have one that's most sentimental to you or anything like that?
I think it's really a toss up between I inherited a very petite vintage turquoise squash blossom that was my husband's grandmother's that she had received as a gift from her husband many years ago. And I wear that a lot because it's very wearable. It's not like a big squash blossom. And then I also have a small little turquoise stone silver bracelet here and I wear it every day. And and I always have earrings on. I love earrings. So I guess
Yeah.
three pieces.
Yeah, I love that bracelet. It's very pretty.
Thank you.
And what is one question? Because it's my favorite type of movies. What is your favorite Western movie?
I'm not the hugest Western movie fan. But one movie that I really love, and it kind of makes me think of the West, is Secondhand Lions.
Yeah.
It tends to be my go-to. My husband loves Lonesome Dove, and we watch a lot of Lonesome
Mhm.
Dove. But I think kind of Secondhand Lions would be my favorite.
Neat, cool. And are you open to orders right now? Where can people shop out of the blue?
I am open to orders. I have a website that I never get updated, hardly. I'm on social media, Facebook and Instagram, and you can send me a message. I always have items made up. Send me a message, what size and what you're looking for if you're looking for a gift, and I'm more than happy to send photos. And I post things for sale on Instagram and Facebook. So yeah, send me a message and I'll throw it back. This time of year it takes me a little bit to get back to people, but I will.
Sounds good. Well, thank you so much for chatting with me today.